With the Sharks being what the Sharks are, decided to dig into three promising prospects from the 2023 draft class: Will Smith, Luca Cagnoni, and Kasper Halttunen. And what have I seen from watching some of their recent games? So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you got to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can subscribe on YouTube as well. And I know the Sharks play the Panthers tonight, but I'm not going to preview the game because I think talking about prospects is more fun, but you can catch the Panthers playing the Sharks tonight at 7:30 Pacific. Catch from puck drop through the end of the game of the Sharks hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Sharks. And wanted to dig into some of the exciting prospects. And since the Sharks are kind of a train wreck. You and I both know that. But wanted to kind of dig into future Sharks and what have I seen so far as I've been trying to this year kind of watch more of the prospects games, watching these players specifically and what have I seen from them, and what I think that kind of they need to work on and what they're doing well. So before we get into Will Smith, the Sharks' fourth overall pick in this year's draft, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So let's dig into Will Smith. And I watched a fair amount of his games. I want to watch this weekend's games against Maine because Maine is a ranked team. Like, this was a good matchup, and it was a bit of a tough game or tough weekend series because Maine is a little bit of an older team, a little bit more kind of a physical team. And I really want to see how Will Smith has kind of continued to grow his game. So let's first kind of see where Will Smith is at for the season, and we'll kind of talk about Will Smith's kind of his games from what I've seen from him. So in 10 games this year, Smith has 5 goals, 9 assists with 25 shots on goal this year. That is pretty good. He is actually third among all freshmen in scoring. Macklin Celebrini, of course, is the leader right now on actually all of hockey, college hockey. He has 18 points in 9 games. And then among freshmen is Gabe Perreault, who has 15 points in 10 games. And then Will Smith is right behind him at 14 points in those 10 games. And that's pretty good. Even if you look at just all the scoring in general, Will Smith is still like, senior all classmen. He is one of the top, 15 scorers in college. And again, he has played 10 career college games. And there's some things I really like about Smith's game, and there's some things that he still needs to continue to work on. And one of the things I've noticed with, especially in both games this weekend, is it felt like it took a little bit to get going. And that was, a little concerning, where maybe at the beginning of the game, he's kind of maybe easing himself into it. But by the end of the game, he's usually kind of found his groove. And especially on Saturday's game in their come from behind win, or they ended up tying the game late and they won the game in a shootout. But Smith, though, you can tell that the coaching staff is really trusting him in his line. Whenever a goal was given up, that was the line out there to kind of try to right the ship, right, and try to get some momentum going. And both times after Maine scored a goal on Saturday's game, the Will Smith line was out there and they were causing havoc in the offensive zone, which is what you want to see, right? You want to see that response, and they provide that positive energy. That USA line of him, Gabe Perreault, and Ryan Leonard have really taken over, and they've been the top line, especially, and which is kind of amazing to see, especially when you have Cutter Gauthier, who was the 5th overall pick the year before, pick for the Flyers, and looks like a really, really legitimate NHL player right now, and I think he's going to have a really nice career. But it's interesting to see that this line is already taken over as the top line, and they have been getting a lot of kind of big assignments. And again, playing a Maine team, which is a little bit older. I know they got some top prospects on, there as well, but you could tell, I think Smith was kind of picking his spots, if that makes sense, right? And kind of maybe more of the trailer, especially on zone breakouts, kind of picking his spots before he made an impact. But then in the third period, when they were down a goal and they really needed to kind of get that game tying goal, that's where you saw Smith really step up his game. And he was a big reason for the game tying goal. He gets the puck at the blue line and just drives to the net and gets a shot off that kind of gets deflected, bounces around, and then Ryan Leonard is the one to finish it off. But it was Will Smith kind of creating that play right there. And you saw Will Smith kind of creating a lot of plays, which is what you want to see from him. Some other positives from this game is he also was playing short. He was playing on the shorthand, was playing on the kill. And he was on one of the kills. He was the first forward group out there. It wasn't like at the end of it, like it's, go play some kill. That way you can be out there for even strike. No, he was the first guy, one of the first guys out there. So that shows that he's gaining trust, and they're hoping for him to continue his development. So I watched this game. Like I said, I watched this game, especially that I watched the Friday game live. And then Saturday, I kind of watched, I watched this game later on. And I was a little worried after the first period because, again, it just felt like he was a little bit slow and kind of a little bit off. But as the game went on, it was good to see him kind of picking his spots and being more assertive. I think that's the thing for Will Smith going forward is, can you now, instead of playing 20 minutes like that in the third period when your team is down, can you start to kind of build on that and start playing 40 minutes, 60 minutes, playing like that the whole time? And again, Maine was a very good team. I think they were ranked 13th. They beat the Boston College on, it was a away game, beat them on Friday night. And the way I thought that team kind of responded, especially after a very frustrating game on Friday, you could tell that the whole Boston College team was frustrated because of just how physical the Maine team is. And that's going to be something Will Smith is going to have to, he's not the biggest guy. He's also 18. And whenever he makes that jump to college, or from college to pro, it's not like he's going to be 24, 25. He's probably going to be 19, maybe 20 if he stays for 2 seasons. It's something he's going to have to continue to kind of navigate, is just not being the biggest guy. And that's every college guy right now. There's, a lot of these young guys, same thing. When Macklin Celebrini comes over, he's not going to be the biggest guy. And right, they're still kind of filling out their bodies and kind of getting used to that. But overall, I was impressed. I know it's really frustrating for Sharks fans because right now all you hear about is Connor Bedard, you hear about Adam Ventilli, you hear about Leo Carlson, and it's just like I talked about in yesterday's episode, we're waiting for our shiny new toy. And our shiny new toy and Will Smith, he's doing what he needs to do. He's producing at the college level. And as I think you're going to see his game continue to elevate as he gets more comfortable in the college game, and as he continues to kind of working out in the gym and kind of adding more muscle and kind of continuing his growth and development. So it's still too early for me to say if I think he's going to be coming to the Sharks after the season or if he's going to go back to Boston College for another season. Again, we're 10 games in. I think they play 30 or 35 games. So we're a third of the way through the season. We still have plenty of time. This is the conversation we can have in, kind of February, March, and see where he is as the regular season's kind of starting to die down and we starting to get in a postseason with Will Smith and what he has done to kind of change his, continue to grow and develop his game. But so far though, again, I know it's frustrating not having our shiny toy, but things are coming together for Will Smith. And I like how his game is starting to come along. So before we get into Luca Cagnoni, who is doing it all and is looking like an absolute steal. Just need to take a quick break here and talk to you guys about our good friends over at JCE Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together. We get fired up over wins whenever they do happen, losses, who starts, who sits, who play, where does Eklund play, all that good stuff. And I'm thankful for that connection that you and I have. But today I want to chat about something a little bit more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medications. You realize what that means? Bring on the extended travel, bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue or whatever it is, you're covered, my friend. You don't have to worry about getting your refill of generics for Cialis or Viagra. This is possible because of our friends over at JCE Medical. Go online right now at jcemedical.com to receive a free 12-month, or sorry, not a free, to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about JCE. I'm thankful for the service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit, so I feel secure. Prices are lower than local pharmacies, and I highly recommend this for everyone. So if you or someone you love would like to get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jcemedical.com and see if it's offered. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. All right. Luca Cagnoni, the Sharks' fourth round pick in this year's draft. And Mr. Cagnoni is having himself an amazing start. So Cagnoni this season, 15 games, 3 goals, 23 assists with 61 shots on goal. He is currently second in the league in assist with 23 behind Trevor Wong, who has 25 for Saskatoon Blades, and has been just an absolute force for this Portland team. And again, Portland is a very good team, but Luca Cagnoni is a driving factor for it. And I think with that's the kind of the worry, right? Especially whenever you have teams like Portland, or last year you had a team like Seattle or whoever, like these kind of monster teams, is who's getting the credit, right? Who's the reason why this team is successful, and who's kind of just hanging out and kind of being a passenger, right? And not to say there's, you can't have all drivers on a line, right? There has to be some guys who are drivers and some guys who are kind of the passengers who are there to kind of, everyone has a role in a line. But Luca Cagnoni is an absolute driver for the Portland Winterhawks, and he plays all situations: power play, shorthanded, 5-on-5, and he's one of the key reasons why Portland is how good they are. And every time I watch him, there's just an effortlessness when I see him play. It's just he does things and it just doesn't look hard for him. And that's what you want to see, right? That is an effortlessness of he can just make hard plays look easy. And there's still plenty of questions, of course, with his size, being only 5'9" and stuff, and how his game will translate. But you're seeing exactly what you wanted to see out of him, right? And he was considered. Remember, would have been very happy if the Sharks had drafted him at 36, where they got Kasper Hutton, and Sharks got him at 123. And he has been an absolute monster for the Winterhawks this season. And I watched a couple games with him, and he's had some insane, like he had a 5-point game the other night with a goal and 4 assists. And it's just him, like, and again, I know sometimes in the WHL you get the haves and the have-nots, but he's doing what you want him to do, right? If they're beating up on a bad team, it's because that's what you want them to do, right? You rather have, if you're a powerhouse team, you should be kind of destroying lesser teams because you're a good team. But with Cagnoni, is just how much of everything kind of relies on him, his ability to kind of transition the puck, keep the puck moving in the offensive zone, find his open teammates, And again, it's not just a power play. He has plenty of power play numbers, and he's a big reason for why the power play has been very, very good for the Portland Winterhawks. Their power play percent right now is at 28.6%, which is, I think, just behind. So it's just behind the Prince George Cougars right now. But this team is just absolutely destroying people. They have 87 goals for in 12 games, and they've only given up 44 goals, which is second best behind the Saskatoon Blades this year. But like I said, what he's doing, though, is just his ability to kind of see the ice and find his teammates, and just the exact time of when do I need to pinch, when I need to kind of lay off, if I need to play, and his defense has been very good as well. His ability to kind of, again, he's not going to be a physical shutdown defenseman. That's not his role, right? But his ability his positioning, his stick ability to kind of, whenever he has to play defense, being able to kind of be a smart defender, right? And not just kind of get himself out of the play. He's not going to get, yes, there's going to be times where he's going to be out physical because he's only 5'9", but he's so smart, and his ability to just not put himself in those positions. I don't feel like that's going to be an issue for him. I still think he does have some work to go as he continues to grow and continues to develop. And I don't expect him to be playing in the NHL next year. And this is going to be a bit of a long-term project, but I feel like the Sharks might have struck gold here with Cagnoni, especially, again, from what you see from him, and just his ability to process and make the right reads. And it seems like he's always making the right play, and that's what you want to see. Is just a guy who's super smart. His high hockey IQ is going to make up for his lack of size, and we've seen plenty of smaller defensemen make it. I'm not saying he's Quinn Hughes, but look at Quinn Hughes, right? Smaller defenseman, but Quinn Hughes is having an outstanding season in the offensive zone and in his own zone as well. And it's because of just how smart he is and how well he's able to kind of read the play and put himself in the right position to succeed. So it'll be very important to get Cagnoni the right partner going forward, but that's a discussion for a different day. But I'm super impressed with every time I get a chance to watch the Portland Winterhawks and just watch Cagnoni operate. It is a thing of beauty just watching him play hockey. Just absolutely thrilled to have him eventually wearing teal. The Sharks, I think the Sharks have something really special with him, and it's time will tell. A long way to go, but you have to be really happy with how the season started for Cagnoni. So we'll get into Kasper Halttunen and what I've seen with him, with the big question coming over from playing in the pro leagues to playing in the OHL. How will his game translate, and what will he be? So we'll get into Kasper Halttunen and what I've seen from him here in just 1 second. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. And if you think about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, include spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I know RIP, the Christian McCaffrey touchdown streak, but I would still keep betting it because Christian McCaffrey is awesome. Also, Chain is back this weekend, and he was an absolute monster before he got hurt. So those are two guys who I think will both find the end zone this weekend. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, so let's finish up talking about Kasper Halttunen, who if you look at the numbers, you'd be pretty excited. But digging deeper, there's a little bit more here that we need to discuss. So Kasper Halttunen in 18 games has 14 goals, which is a lot, and then 5 assists with 36 shots on goal. He is currently second in the OHL. He is fourth in the OHL in goals with 14. The leader has 19, and he's actually tied for third with 14. Eight of his goals are on the power play, which is something we'll talk about here in a minute. London is a very good team, right? That's kind of we've known they're kind of, I don't want to say the Yankee, but they're all that team that always kind of gets the good players, right? You never really see London have a bad year, and they have some really good players on this team, right? Denver Barkey, who was a mid-round pick last year and has really had a really nice season for him. They have defenseman Sam Dickinson, who's going to be a top 5. He might be the first defenseman off the board this year. Like, this London team is very, very good. Kasper Halttunen, my concern with him is he's basically just been a power play specialist for the London Knights, and don't get me wrong, he is very, very good at that. They almost kind of treat him like Ovechkin. You kind of here, stay in the left circle. We'll pass it around and we'll get it to you, and you just slam home that one-timer. And he is very, very good at that. Like, how many of the Kasper Halttunen highlights do you see of him? That is what he's doing, right? He is scoring those type of very pretty, very nice goals. Great. What else are you doing? And I think that's the problem with Halttunen right now, is he's really just become a power play specialist for London. And I know it's still very early in the season, right? You know, they've played a handful of games here, and, you know, they've played 18 games, and they play 68, 72, some, like, there's still a lot of the season to go in the OHL. But it would like to, the big thing for him, I think, is how do you continue to build and develop your game, right? And I watched who were they playing? I watched the game this weekend where they were it was a very close game. I think it was Owen Sound. They were back and forth, and when London needed to score a goal to kind of tie the game, you know, very late in the third, you would expect to see a goal scorer like Halttunen out there. He was not. And I think that's where he needs to continue to develop, and is gaining that trust of the coaching staff of, yes, I know you can slam home a one-timer when you're, you know, kind of set up, but how do you continue to develop your game? How can I make sure that you can be trusted when either there's a 1-goal lead or you're down 1 and then you're not giving up something and then we're down 2 type of players? So, and again, it's going to be very early. We know Halttunen is going to be there for a couple of seasons, right? This is not just a one. I don't expect this to be a 1-year thing for Halttunen where he plays, and then next year he's in the AHL and the Bear. I expect him to kind of, especially with the way we have seen the Sharks be very, very patient with their players. Like Ethan Cardwell could have 100% played in the AHL last year. But he's a better player for it now. Look at what we've seen from Cardwell so far this season with the Barracuda. You know, he's been one of their 4 or 5 best forwards this season. He has really made an impact on this team, I think, much sooner than we saw some of the guys from last year, right? With Halttunen, and right, that's what we always talk about, especially with like a guy like Eklund, right? Is developing the rest of your game. So if you're not scoring, what else can you do for me right now? And Halttunen just doesn't have that at the moment. And again, it's very, very early, right? He just came over. He was a late addition. He didn't come over until kind of basically as the season was about ready to start, and late addition, and he's still maybe getting used to it. They have some guys who've kind of been in the system for a couple of years. Cohen, who was a first-round pick by the Maple Leafs, Denver Barkey. Like, they have some good guys who've been there and kind of earned their trust. Former Sharks draft pick Max McHugh, right, who's kind of an overager for them. Like, I totally understand that those guys are going to kind of get those opportunities right now, but I just want to see if, maybe by the mid-season point, if we're starting to see Halttunen continue to grow and get some of these opportunities and be counted on, right? Can you be a guy where I can trust you if we're down a goal and we're not in full desperation mode, but we're kind of pushing, trying to get the pedal to the metal, where you can be trusted to, yes, you're trying to push for goal, but you're not going to kind of make a back-breaking error that puts us down 2 goals. Can you be more than a power play specialist? And there's nothing wrong with being a power play specialist. Plenty of players have made great careers off of it. And that shot is going to make him an NHL player, right? I mean, we've all seen that shot. But again, how do you go from being, kind of pigeonholed as that type of player to grow and develop, and then being kind of a 5-tool player that you can really, lean on and add as a foundational piece, right? It's expensive, but it's easy to find guys who can shoot the puck, right? Find me a guy who can do a little bit, who can shoot the puck and then do other stuff, right? And a guy like Quentin Musty. I know Musty's been out for a couple of games with an injury, but we know Musty can score. But you've seen, if you've watched any of the Wolves games, he is kind of all over the ice, right? He's creating offense. He's setting up his teammates. He's had some amazing goals in overtime. And yes, he's one of their best players, but he's trusted to, if you're not going to be able to create offense, can you at least, try to either get the puck back or play enough defense to get us the puck back? And Musty has done that for the Wolves. Again, he's been in the system a little bit longer with Sudbury, but I think that's the thing for Halttunen is, can you continue to grow and develop and be that guy? Because then if you get to the AHL and you can't do that, life's going to be pretty hard, and you're going to find your ice time limited as the competition gets tougher and tougher, right? And then we've seen plenty of Sharks players who can, they can score the puck, but they can't do the other stuff. And then that's kind of where you get in trouble, right? Is how do you continue to grow and develop your game? So not worried about Quentin Halttunen. I still think he's going to be a good player for the Sharks. And we knew when they drafted him, the man loves to score. Kid loves to score. Good for him. Let's score as many goals as you possibly can, but let's continue. Let's try to round out that game, right? Let's work on the defense. Let's work on, maybe the passing, being, what your even strength game looks like. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the Panthers game. We got some interviews we're getting lined up here probably for next week. I know next week is American Thanksgiving, so we'll have schedule will be a little bit funky next week. I'll let you guys know how that looks next week as I kind of plan out the map, build out the shows and stuff like that. So but that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow, like I said, to cover the Panthers game. Make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.